Missy Botha played 4 years of varsity volleyball at Linfield High School. She then continued her playing career, taking her talents to the court for Division III Tufts University. Today, she's in the midst of her fourth season as the head coach of the 11-0 undefeated Lone Peak High School varsity volleyball program. Missy, we're glad to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Of course. Well, so you returned a majority of your athletes from last season. After a strong season a year ago, what has elevated the team to this undefeated, performance that they've put on this year?
I think, Brandon, when you have a chance to have a group of girls for 4 years, you have the opportunity to instill your coaching philosophy and team culture from, the time they were freshmen. So they have full buy-in into the program. Our practices run seamlessly. Expectations have been set and met, and you don't have to deal with extraneous stuff. They come in ready to play, and there's very little skill correction that needs to be done, so we can concentrate on actually making plays. And we've got a great group of 7 seniors. So when you've got that from the time they were freshmen, now they're peaking.
Yeah, well, talk about peaking and making plays. What do you believe is this team's greatest strength?
I think they don't dwell on any mistakes that they make. They need to be able to be clear-headed, to be able to perform in the next point, and they just don't give up. So I would say their grit, their love for the game, and their willingness to do whatever it takes to win.
Well, you've done a lot of winning this year, and obviously there haven't been a whole lot of struggles, but at times when you have faced adversity, Shields pushed you to a 5th set. When you have faced that adversity, how has this team stemmed the tide?
Well, I wouldn't say there hasn't been struggles. There's definitely been challenges for this team. These girls haven't had a homecoming. They've had no dance, no senior night, no fans. And it's not easy to play in a gym that sounds more like a library. Mm-hmm. And they came into the season knowing that it would not be season, and they needed to create their own energy. Mm-hmm. So, and even when we lost Maddie Cohn, she was out for 4 to 5 games. We had Jessie Bow playing outside hitter. She's a defensive specialist. So these girls adapt, they take on new roles willingly, and they just keep pushing. And, even with those changes, the core of the team remained intact. We could depend on the experience and the will of the seniors. So, there's, as far as no adversity, maybe, it's because we haven't lost, but there's definitely been this underlying challenges that we've, risen to.
Yeah. Well, thank you for correcting me. And obviously it has been a challenging year in a lot of ways. When we spoke at the beginning of the season, before you'd even played a single match, I remember you discussed and touched on the girls having to be their own cheerleaders and be their own support system this year. Recently watching your match against Gardner, I don't think I've ever seen the team that animated. You say that's just kind of been the culmination of the way that this year has gone, or is that just has that always been there? You just really hear it now with it being more quiet in the gymnasium.
I've had to not be so loud in the huddle too, because you don't want the whole gym hearing what you're saying in the huddle. But yeah, beating Gardner, that was a highlight. That was a huge highlight. Nobody beats Lone Peak 5 years in a row. It wasn't just beating Gardner, it's how they did it. And like you said, their energy was off the charts, and they were just on fire. But we had prepared for that match. We knew exactly what their rotation was. We had a play for every single rotation. And we targeted the right player with our serves. And so it was pretty cool to see a plan go that well.
Yeah, I would say going well is an understatement. Well, touching on the Gardner match, I know that was a big accomplishment for you, but to this point, what has been your highlight of the season?
Oh yeah, I was definitely beating Gardner. They are traditionally year after year, they're well coached. Their girls are always very competitive. They have one player in particular that is a very big hitter, and we would have practices just around that one player and what to do with that player. And that was a highlight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that preparation paid off.
Yeah.
And in other conversations we've had, we've always discussed the big two, Gardner and Manhattan Christian.
Right.
Having already taken down one of your greatest foes, how would you describe the energy and confidence of the team ahead of the postseason and your match with Manhattan Christian?
Okay, so our match was in our season was a little derailed. All the girls are currently in quarantine, including myself. I just had a conversation with John Hannes, who asked me if I wanted to play Manhattan Christian the day after we are released from quarantine. And so there's two sides to that. We won't have practiced for 2 weeks. We're probably going to be a half a step slow, but at the same time, it's all about the postseason right now. So do we want to see what they are like on the court? Of course we do. We want the competition. So after talking with the team, they were all for it. And it's, what can we lose? I mean, it's like it's the end of the season. It's the beginning of the regulars of the postseason. So we need the competition and we need to see what they've got.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
hey, we're coming out of quarantine,
well,
even if we lose, it'll be like, well, we haven't practiced in 2 weeks.
That's a great point. Well, lastly, with the team playing as great as they can, and, being a senior led squad, what are your playoff expectations this season?
Oh, we're going to be really competitive. The will of these girls alone is going to get them far into the postseason. We've got the experience of Ivy Hicks and Chloe Hammond, who are our captains. They set the tone. Ivy never has a bad day. Chloe is just super steady in the back row. Our outside hitters are Riley Germain and Hannah Dreisbach. They bring power, but more than that, they make really good decisions, and they've had a great season rounding on our front row. And then our middle hitters of Maddie Cohn, who brings the hammer, versus TJ, who is like all about finesse, and she can put a ball wherever she wants. And then we've got our dream team defensive back row of Ruth Blodgett, Jessie Bow, and Grace Redmond in the back row. But I have to mention Vera, who is our freshman, brought up from JV. And so she's our 5'11" blocker, blocking against strong side. So this mix of girls they're just going to pull together. They're going to be like they're shot out of a cannon as soon as they come out of quarantine. And I expect nothing but the best from them.
Well, Missy, I think I'm speaking for everyone in Big Sky when I say good luck the rest of the season and into the playoffs. And I would like to thank you for your time this evening.
Okay.
Joe, I'd like to send things back over to you to continue the discussion.
Thanks, Brandon.
Awesome. Thank you, Missy. And thanks, Brandon, for that. Missy, again, congratulations on a fantastic year so far, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.